Hello，你好，欢迎回来，Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on June 1st, 2022. Now, originally, I had something else planned for this episode, but then I suddenly realized, hey, we're only 2 days before what is known either as the May Festival or the Dragon Boat Festival for Chinese people. And this is a really big deal. This is one of the more fun-filled festival, and it's one of the festivals that actually have special food and special activity for my people. So I thought we are going to talk a little bit about that. I can't even remember if I did something similar for this day, this festival, last year or in previous Wisdom Wednesday. However, if you like to what you hear today, if you like today's episode, then I definitely would say check out the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast. You can find it on almost anywhere that you get your podcast from, Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcast and all that stuff. Johnny Tiger Experience podcast, where there's a story about the May Festival in its more complete form, complete with sound effects and background music and the whole work. Now, as I mentioned before on past videos, I was a dragon boater for a long time, from year 2000 all the way up to year 2011. And the end of my dragon boat career, so to speak, although it wasn't really a career, the end of me dragon boating sort of hailed the beginning of me going back and becoming a more serious martial artist. So that like kind of symbolic and interesting in its own way. However, dragon boating has another really big meaning. You see, when I first heard about dragon boating, I was kind of offended by it. It took teachers and friends almost 3 years to talk me into dragon boating. Everyone told me, "Oh, you'd be perfect for dragon boating. We have a dragon boat team for the blind and visually impaired people, and for the disabled, and you would be such an asset for the team. You're strong, you're young, you're athletic. You would be good for it." But I I never told any of them. But the reason I didn't want to join a Dragon Ball team because I felt insulted that this cultural activity for my people, something that my people do on a special day, is being used by quote unquote white people as just another physical activity. Uh, it just imagine if something like imagine if someone tell you that you should join our Christmas tree club, and it goes all year long, and we have Christmas tree decorating competitions all year long, and yet it's supposed to be something special for Christmas. That imagine you go to a different country and they tell you, oh no, here we do it every day. Here we do it like every week, and it's a great activity. We go and cut the tree, go into the forest and cut the tree ourselves, and we make Christmas tree every week, just for fun. I imagine some of you would feel a little bit insulted as well. So it's kind of like that. Like to me, at least back then, dragon boating was something very sacred. It's something that like should only happen once a year for my people, and it's a special thing. And suddenly I was told, oh no, here in Canada we are doing it for sports. God. Anyway, so first of all, the main festival, the Dragon Boat Festival, this very special occasion is called 端午节. 端午节. Now the word 节, Jea, means special day, special holiday. 端午节. That's a DWUN WUJEA, 端午节. Uh, Basically means the May, the middle of May holiday, 端午节. Uh, it is when people celebrate traditionally that celebrating the coming of summer, the good weather, the outdoorsy activity. However, it has a much more significant and more serious and tragic background to it. And today we're going to give a quick retelling of the origin of 端午节 and its various activities. But before we tell the story, the two things that is symbolic for 端午节, for the main festival, Dragon Boat Festival. Of course, one of the things is Dragon Boat. For the uninitiated, for people who don't know what Dragon Boat is, Dragon Boat is a really, really large canoe. Imagine those Native American war canoe, but this thing is big. It's like big enough to hold 20 people. Each row of the seat have two people sitting side by side. So one person paddle the right side, one person paddle the left side, and then you go all the way down the boat. Uh, so you would have 10 people paddling on the right side, 10 people paddling on the left side. The outside of the boat is decorated with scales to make it look like a dragon. And the front of the boat has a fiberglass or wood dragon head mounted on it during ceremony. And the back end of the back of the boat has a tail, a dragon tail attached to it. Now, during most of the practices and races, when it's being Dragon Boat is just being used as a sporting event, then they don't put on the dragon head or tail, and you just get the boat itself. The head and the tail is only put on for like ceremony. Dragon boat in Mandarin is called Longzhou. Longzhou means Long, Lon, means dragon, and Zhou, J-O, means canoe, kayak, any kind of small boat. To paddle a dragon boat or to be dragon boating, it's called Hua Longzhou. You add the word Hua, H-W-A, in the front. Hua means to paddle, to move with a propeller, a paddle. In addition to the 20 people that paddle the dragon boat, there's also going to be a person in the front with a really big drum, and this is the drummer. The job of the drummer is to make sure everybody stay in time. Because you can imagine, you have a 1,000, 2,000 pound boat with another 2,000 pounds of human flesh in there. It's really heavy. This thing's heavy in the water. Um, which means it doesn't matter how strong you are, and this is a common misconception that you need to be strong to paddle a dragon boat. No, you don't have to be. The key to be a good Dragon Ball team, the strong Dragon Ball team, is timing. If everyone can paddle at the same time and stay in the same rhythm, then this boat will move really, really well. If people don't work together, it doesn't matter how many strong people you have on a dragon boat, it's not going anywhere. It's like a well-oiled machine. All the components have to move at the same time, otherwise it's not moving. And that is the uh, purpose of the drummer. The drummer gives you a beat, like, and then everyone knows when to put their paddle in the water, when to pull, and what beat to go by. Sometimes, especially the more professional teams, they have more professional drummers. Then you get beats that are a lot more fancier than that. Then you get those really cool Chinese drum beats, like something like that, right? And then you got to paddle at the same time, going off of that beat. Another person, probably the most important person on the dragon boat, is the person who stands in the back with the oar. The oar is a giant paddle, and this person controls when to turn the boat and which way the boat is going. So everyone's safety is in the hand of this person who's called the steers person. He steers where the boat have to go. So the rest of the people, the paddlers, all you have to do, that's the only thing that you have to worry about is put your paddle in and pull as hard as you can and try to stay in time with all the other people. Uh, the rest you don't have to worry about. So that is a dragon boat in a very short, compacted form. Uh, so that is a number one symbolic event item for 端午节. Number two, the special food for 端午节 is called 粽子, Jonje, 粽子. Zongzi is a Chinese dumpling about the size of your fist, sometimes bigger, but usually it's about the size of your fist. And it is triangular. It is made of sticky rice with meat, egg yolk, um, and mushroom in there, although the filling tend to vary. Some people do a sweet. Some people will put red bean paste and taro and brown sugar in there instead. But it is made of sticky rice and it's shaped into a triangle, kind of like a pyramid kind of shape. The sticky rice and the filling is then tightly compacted, so you have to smoosh it until it is nice and compacted. It's really firm, and then you wrap it in this specially treated bamboo leaves, uh, and then tie it up with twines or strings. When you want to eat it, you put it in a steamer and steam it, or you can. Some people nowadays just microwave it, but it really doesn't taste quite as good when you do it that way. Um, but it is you can actually eat it cold as well. Like I like to eat my 粽子 cold. Just peel off the bamboo leaves because it's already cooked when you make it. Well, when it's being made, it's already cooked. So if you eat it cold, you just peel away the bamboo leaves, put it in a bowl, and then put on some soy sauce and some people like vinegar and some hot sauce, and it's just really, really delicious. Now you gotta watch out you don't eat too much of it because it is sticky rice, and sticky rice is very hard to digest, and you might give yourself a stomach ache if you go overboard with this. So Dragon Boat, Longzhou, and Zongzi, rice dumpling, are the two major staples on 端午节. What is 端午节 about, and why are these two things significant for this very special Chinese holiday? Well, the story takes us back to about 3,000 years ago in China, during the time when China was not one country. Instead, China was split into like 8 or 9 separate states. This is what's called the time of the warring states. So imagine the piece of land that we now know as China, but back then was split up into like the United States. You have different states, but and all these states have their own kings, rulers, and they are always at war with each other. One of these states, the king was kind of corrupt, wasn't very good king, but he had one of the best, most wisest of the ministers. This minister's name was Qu Yuan. Qu Yuan was a kind and wise minister that sought for that always tried to do the best for the civilians, for the people, for his state, for his emperor. However, because the rest of the noblemen, the rest of the ministers and other officials were just as corrupt as the king himself. no one liked Qu Yuan. Every time Qu Yuan would try to propose a new treaty or a new law or a new kind of benefit for the people, it would get shut down before it even have a chance to get considered. Every time the king or any other state officials would be doing something wrong, Qu Yuan would also be the first one to point out to them, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Our civilians, our people are suffering. So you can imagine, Qu Yuan was not a very popular guy, at least in the imperial court. He was very popular with the civilian because he was always trying to do the right thing for the civilian. But everyone in the government hated him because this guy is so self-righteous and always trying to act like he's better than everybody else and trying to tell everyone what they should be doing or what they shouldn't be doing. So after a while, the king finally had enough of this pompous a-hole of a minister. So he decreed that Qu Yuan was no longer allowed to set foot inside the imperial palace. But even after that, Qu Yuan continued to persist to be annoying, always writing articles and poetries and inspirational speeches, trying to rally the people to do the right thing, trying to oust corrupt officials, and finally, he got banished from the capital city. He was ordered to never return to the capital city. In his grief and his hopelessness, Qu Yuan started drinking. He became an alcoholic, continued writing his poetry, continued writing his articles. Uh, there's still a lot of poetry that's being studied by Chinese children today that were penned by Qu Yuan 3,000 years ago. Long story short, one day Qu Yuan uh, was walking by a great river, and he saw a fisherman fishing by the river, and Qu Yuan said to the fisherman, "Why do you sit here day in and day out when I never see you catch anything?" And the fisherman said, "Well, at least I know what I'm here for. I am here to so I can serve food. I can put food on the table for my family. Why do you persist on causing trouble for your king and your colleagues day in and day out when you know that the effort is not going anywhere, when you know that you're not being appreciated anyway?" And this seemingly innocent retort drove Qian over the edge, and he threw himself in the river and drowned himself. I mean, he might have been drunk and not in his right mind, who knows? But Qian drowned himself. Like I said, even though he was hated in the imperial court, the civilians really loved this guy because he was an inspiration. He was the one guy that fought for them, fought for their rights, fought for their equality, and tried to do good by them. So nearby fishermen quickly took their boat into the river and tried to rescue Qian, but they never found his body. The fishermen, knowing that there were a lot of fish and other wildlife in the river that probably would scavenge the body of their favorite politician, decided to start putting rice and food in the river. However, they soon realized that this wasn't working. The food and rice in the river all it did was draw more wildlife to the area. It wasn't going to stop the wildlife from scavenging off the body because eventually it's going to run out of food. Eventually, the rice and the meat and whatever they throw in the river wasn't going to be enough. So the wildlife was going to feed off of the remains of Qian regardless. So one night, the fisherman that talked to the last person that saw Qian alive had a dream in which Qiyuan told him, "Look, if you guys really want to protect my body, you need to scare away the wildlife. You need to find a way to scare away the wildlife." Next day, the fisherman woke up and he thought to himself, "What is the one thing that all the animals are afraid of? The king of all the animals. Well, that's a dragon. So what if we make our boat look like dragon? So all the wildlife in the area will think there are dragons patrolling the river, and they will leave this area." So that's what they did. They took their boat and painted dragon scales on them, and carved dragon head and dragon tail, and put them on the boat, and they went out into the river. From that day on, every year on the anniversary of Qian's suicide or Qian's death, people took their dragon boat out to the river and throw rice dumplings into the river as to pay tribute to this very great man. Of course, nowadays, a lot of these things has lost its meaning. Like I said, dragon boating is just being used as another form of exercise, and rice dumpling or 粽子 is mostly for feeding the people rather than feeding the wildlife. But it's still a good story and kind of tragic. And hey, it's even a real story, which is pretty cool. So I hope that those of you who celebrate 端午节 you'll have a good one. It's going to be on June 3rd, so it's in a couple of days. And if you have never tried 粽子 or the rice dumpling, yeah, then this is a good time to start. You can go find some and give it a try. Like I said, you can either eat it cold or steam it in the steamer. And don't eat too much of it, otherwise you're going to get a stomach ache. Thank you for checking out today's Wisdom Wednesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Toy Thursday. For now, have a good rest of the day and 再见.